Hey everyone, this is the LEGO Sonic the Hedgehog Sonic vs. Dr. Eggman's Death Egg Robot set. I paid $60 US for this, 60. It comes with 615 pieces and I built it live over on my Twitch channel. Obviously, the main robot is the main thing that you're paying for in this set, so it's what I'll spend most of my time looking at and talking about. It's a pretty sturdy build. It's pretty heavy. It's pretty hefty. Like when you pick it up, you feel like you're actually holding on to something. It has very bright colors, and it generally does the job that it's intended to do. It also has some well built-in action features and the new color for the dome up there with the trans black as opposed to the old trans brown. And it has a fair amount of articulation, I'd say, for what it is, you know, for something that's so stumpy. There's a little bit, now I should have prefaced this by saying that I am not a Sonic player or particularly a Sonic fan myself, so I'm not a good person to go through lore or pick out the finest little details and Easter eggs and things from sets like this. But I will point out that, at least to my eyes, the lack of any simulated skin tone across the front here is a bit of a miss. That could have been built up, I think, without relying on a unique printed dome piece. I think they could have built this up around the side just a little bit to simulate that. Otherwise, I think the overall shape looks pretty good. The color blocking looks pretty good. It looks pretty right to me. And it is, like I said, pretty sturdy. Like you can put it into a moving, I didn't even realize it could do that. Like a walking pose on one toe. I did not realize I could do that at all. Okay, well that's actually pretty cool. I was just going to try to go kind of in between, but no, this is better. Better than I even realized up to this point. Yeah, so you got, you know, a little bit of leg movement front to back. And you've got the ankles down here, which are actually on ball joints. So they can be rotated in or out just a little bit. Reminds me of a Zeonic mech from the Gundam universe. You bring these all the way in, gets just ever so slightly taller, but I think it's better if you have them slightly splayed and you can keep the feet flat on the ground because of the ball joints down there. And then up here, you've got just regular ball joints for the shoulders and ball joints for the elbows as well. So you can kind of turn a little bit there, fire comically off to the side without looking. I think that's pretty good. Same thing over here. There's no actual firing that goes on here, but you obviously have the 6-shooter, which will spray those studs absolutely everywhere, and then you'll most likely lose at least one your second time shooting it. You got prints right here for the eyes and also prints back here on the side. Just got the easy space for this dude to just sit down there. Actually, it can be attached with just 2 studs and everything fits with plenty of clearance. No worries about hitting his head. You know, everything closes up properly. No articulation down here at the rocket exhaust, but that's about it. I don't know if the lime green color back here is inappropriate, if that should not be showing, but we see some of it underneath here as well. Yeah, I don't know exactly what that's about. It doesn't bother me too much in this very comic thing, but maybe it's not quite right. On the opposite side of things, this is my first and only look at the Sonic Launcher, which is a brand new design, and I was very skeptical about this. LEGO has done some action-based things that really don't work particularly well over their history, including relatively recently, but I'm happy to report that this one works excellently. What surprised me most, so here's what's going on with this. Sonic goes inside of this, which is kind of like a minifig pod when they were doing those pod poly bags. Just has 2 Technic pins to hold it together. He sits in here lightly, not completely secure. You can put him into slightly different poses and it'll still fit in there. It's a little bit loose, you know, kind of rattles around. And then you put him right there. Got a couple stoppers down at the base with the Technic bushings in rubber, which don't really give this a lot of grip to the ground. You really have to hold this back here, but hold it here. This is the exact same piece as this, just in a different color and with a print on it. And this just basically moves forward. Now, see, it goes right to there. That's it. So the idea is that you punch this really, really hard and then Sonic goes spinning off. Now, what I thought was going to happen is you would need to hit this incredibly hard to make it work. But this right here is the proof that this is an excellent design. I can just lightly tap it and he rolls off. So here, I'll do it again. I can just lightly, not even tap it, just push it. And he rolls off straight and he goes straight. That is an excellent start to this. You can also hit it extremely hard. Every time I've used this, it has given me a usable trajectory. It has gone off pretty darn straight. Even though this feels a little bit wobbly to me, this does not feel as strong as I would have expected for something that can possibly take so much abuse. But I think it works great. It is so simple, so smooth, but just the fact that you can get that level of precision out of it, and it's able to take the big hits, this is actually an excellent design. Yes, it is going to get scratched up, expect that, but I think that's perfectly fine. These are the only two obstacles included in the set. This gives you a little bit of a jump, and this just kind of gets in your way slightly. You basically just blast right through it. But watch how it all comes together. This is actually pretty slick how it works, and it works pretty consistently as well, and does not require a tremendously hard hit in a perfectly, centered spot. Just a little bit of pressure here will push this out. So, you don't have to have the greatest skill or the greatest luck. You don't have to have the maximum amount of kinetic energy imparted into this. It actually works excellently to consistently give you that option. Basically, the farther away the robot is, the more difficult it is to line up your shot, which is fine, but you can always use skill and care to line it up, or just bring it in closer. So you can really choose your difficulty. The idea here is that this would hold a couple of the small, we'll look at these in a minute, but the little animals that would be powering it. So this is like the, knocking the power core out and also removing the jet or rocket pack from it. And then you can reset it at any time that easily. It's just that. The other builds are a little bit of a lab here. And once again, you can have an animal or a couple animals or a few animals in there that need to be rescued. And technically you can use this with the Sonic action feature to hit this, and then it'll knock this off and allow you to rescue the animals inside. That's if you want to use it in that way. But if you hit it too hard, it's probably going to spill the animals all around. But use your imagination there on how the rescue process itself actually works. Only one of these rings is included. That's unfortunate. I think they should have included at least, 10 of these or something. You can't have too many of these. You can definitely have too few. And then just one small robot, which uses the yellow color for a battle droid body. I think that's pretty cool. It's nice piece to get in a nice color, and the design of this looks pretty good, but it does fall over easily. The animals to rescue in this series are all in the Friends design style. So you've got the bird in dark azure, the teal colored bunny, it's a baby bunny, and then the sea turtle, which is also a baby, in the flame yellowish orange color with a nice print for the shell. Here are the Sonic and Dr. Eggman figures. The Eggman has kind of the Hagrid thing going on with the specialized body, but it's not full length, and then it's got the extra long legs as well, and lots of paint applications to this one. So you got more of a traditional Tampo style set of prints on the front, and then all of this masked off, sprayed on stuff for the very, very shiny mustache. But then you got the nose, the eyes, and well done bright silver colored goggles up on the top. So mold mark only on the head, more printing around the back, which looks pretty good, and around the back of the mustache as well. That's actually produced pretty well, I'd say, and the prints I think are perfectly fine. Underneath of here, there's nothing else to see because this again is a specialized body, so you've just got the print on the legs as well. The Sonic uses dual molded legs. The lower part is red, and they print white onto that, which is not perfect, but it's not too bad. A little bit of printing on the side here as well. Unfortunately, that body print is not good. It's supposed to be the full flesh or skin style tone there, and it just isn't compared to what we see in the head for Sonic, which is a different thing because it's actually dual molded. And if you look inside of here, you can see it's dual molded in that skin tone. So that's how they're able to get that nice and consistent. But the print in the eyes is good. The only other Sonic that I personally have as a figure is the first one from the Dimensions wave, and that one used tan. Also had a poor print for the body there. It's just lacking in opacity. But the previous one used white for the lower, not the previous one, but this one used the white color for the lower part of the legs. So I was able to get a nice white band, but then you see white inside of where the red should be for the shoes. So just a different compromise. And I think that overall the print on this one is better. It's more crisp, more sharp where it is printed, and then the dual molding for the head is also just executed well, even though it is the same mold again. These are the leftover pieces with some extra shots for the 6-stud shooter when you lose those, of course. One extra eye print there, and no stickers were used in this set, which is a plus. Again, I paid $60 US for this, 60. For some reason, it's 65 euros at the base, 58 pounds UK, and then it's 80 Canadian dollars, which converts to approximately 60 US also. Again, 615 pieces here. Typically, the Lego action themes like this, you know, the stuff that's intended to be hands-on, even when it's in their own IP, you know, no extra licensing costs that, you know, people like to put a lot of emphasis on, which they are already amortized across the entire product line anyway. Like in City, those things are really expensive. Like stunts, really, really expensive. Anything that they do that's hands-on is typically really, really expensive. This one doesn't feel like it's as expensive. I feel like, especially when you feel this, you build this and you feel it, there's some mass there. There's a good amount of building that goes into it, a good amount of articulation. Some pretty fancy stuff going on with the printing for Dr. Eggman there. New mold was used for this, and this works excellently, which is a big, big plus. You know, overall, as always, of course, I would like to see this cheaper, but I'm not going to complain about the price this time around because at the very least, the builds are good, the figures and mobs are good, the action features are good, the play is good, and just generally I feel like there's a lot of value to be had with this. I feel like kids getting this, with this being a cheaper way compared to the big loop set to get the launcher. I feel like kids can have all sorts of fun with this. People of all ages can enjoy this launcher. It's done well enough. You can use it anywhere. Set up your own obstacle courses and everything. I really think there's a little bit more to this value-wise than meets the eye. I think there's a little bit more value-wise than the part count. Looking at the part count alone would suggest I think there's a little bit more value-wise than just the visual mass of what you're looking at. So all in all, I think this was a real success as a set. I had lots of concerns about it in advance. There were a lot of ways it could have failed, but I think it doesn't. So this one, I give nothing but thumbs up. Definitely want to get better printing from Lego. You know, they can do some pretty fancy stuff. Let's get some better printing again on just the regular stuff and we'll be good. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.